Good evening. Hey everybody. Second episode of Deep State Dish. Glad you could make it. Sorry it's been a little while. We're still getting acclimated to how we want the format to be, and also myself getting my feet wet. But anyhow, I just wanted to stop in and have a chat with you guys and give you the Deep State take on things. As we did before, I want to cover some of the local things, the local news, some of the state news, and then some of our national news. Been a lot going on, always is. So let's see what we can pull up here on the local side. I picked up a couple of papers on the way down here from this past week. They always provide enough subject matter, believe me. So just wanted to go through here and see what we had going on. And of course, coal ash is still in the news, always is in Wayne County, as it is everywhere in the state. Anyway, having said that, we're still covering for the representatives that we elect, the Republican representatives, the Republican Party, the Republican legislature that has allowed this to happen. They don't call it Georgia Power for nothing. They come in here and they influence our legislature, and we're trying to put a Band-Aid on it to cover our poor judgment that we've allowed to happen throughout the state. I'm looking here at the local paper just from this past Wednesday, and the chairman of the paper has an article in here about the coal ash being a mel of a Hess. Okay, well, it is a mel of a Hess. And I'll tell you why. It is that way because we're electing people who are taking money from corporations that are trying to maximize their profits at the expense of their constituents. And you can slice it, dice it, puree it, anything you want to do to it, that's the bottom line. They've got legislature that they've rolled back, regulations that they've rolled back. If we depend on people to do the right thing without any impediments, then this is what's going to happen. So know that your vote counts when you go in to elect your representatives. So let's just say that we're all up in arms. This has been going on for 15, 20 years, and it's still going on. So anyway, let's see here. We've got a bill here that says targeting coal ash. This is Saturday's paper. Follow up on that. Still the same thing. Just we're going to talk about the problem, then we're going to try to do everything we can except solve it. Because we want to have that free market. Well, they're free all right. They're free to do what they want to right now. And actually, they're poisoning your water is what they're doing. Everybody says it. Everybody knows it. How are they getting by with it? Because we're allowing them to do it. Plain and simple. Okay, enough about the coal ash. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. I did see this one article here this week that caught my attention, and I'll have to take my hat off to Mr. Mark Israel. He was a guest columnist here about the Right to Farm Amendment. My God, they actually let somebody come on there that was against corporate influence. And so what this bill is going to do is allow corporate farms in the poultry and pork industries and things like that to come in and set up these waste ponds, they pretty much if they might be close to a residential areas or municipalities or any place that could affect negatively, have a negative impact against their constituents in that area, they're protecting them is what we're doing. We have another case here of trying to protect the corporation while we try to rail against it at the same time. And the two things, they're just not going to, it's not going to allow itself to happen, to play out. But what this gentleman is bringing up essentially is that these cesspools that are filled with the remnants of processing these food products could negatively affect, like I say, local residents, municipalities, the water system. But now we're allowing legislation in here that says that you only have 2 years. If there's not a negative impact in 2 years, then you can't sue them for damages. So they're essentially protecting the corporations. Why is that, you reckon? So, you know, this is, I do take my hat off to him. He says he's a 6th generation farmer, and he's talking about protections here, but the protections that they're letting happen are for the corporations. They're protecting the corporations again. It's time, folks, to understand that the country needs to be legislated for the people. And no matter what the 2010 ruling for Citizens United said, corporations aren't people. They're run by people that want to be unregulated, but they aren't people. They're not here for your benefit. So anyhow, we're going to go back to another article here, locally. I see Mr. Carter, Mr. Duddy Carter, our local representative, stopped in for a little visit here with the Face-to-Face Recovery Center. Great program, by the way, but we are not doing everything we can to attack the problem of drug addiction and opioids and mental health. That brings me to another article from this Saturday's paper about our budget. It looks like enough hell was raised after the budget came out, where we had cut so much funding for mental health in the state. Our Governor Kemp had. There must have been enough hell raised to go ahead and put the money back in there, is what the article's saying. So thank God for that the voices were heard, because that's a neglected part of healthcare right now that is that it affects more people than you realize. So I'm glad to see that whoever managed to get the Republicans to listen to them, to give that back, my hat's off to them. Anyway, that's they keep talking about how good of economic shape we're in. At what cost? At what cost? How about our future? I'll get to that in just a minute on the national level. But anyhow, that's some of the local news. I did want to mention one more thing here. There's always something good to find in press talk when they have it. Another rambling message here from someone. Immorality is not an impeachable offense. I didn't want to get to the national level right now, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you don't understand why this man was brought up on impeachment, then I don't know what to tell you. It's not American. It's a violation of the Constitution to employ outside interference from a foreign country to affect our elections. There's no other way to put it. So I don't understand what you don't understand about that. But that's pretty plain and simple. The title was Immorality is not an impeachable offense. This isn't immoral. It's illegal. And so at any time, I hope that they'll go ahead and impeach him a second time. Lord knows there'll be enough material to do so, for sure. Because at what cost is your morality? At what cost do you decide that someone's immoral enough for you? Anyway, that's enough of that right there. We've got plenty going on here on the national level. I want to go ahead and get, one more thing on the local level. I do want to give a shout out to the police department, Jessup PD, Mike Lane, and man, you guys are doing a great job. We've got a scourge of drug activity in this county, in this city, and the sheriff's department and the police department are doing a good job. trying to get it off the streets. Listen, I grew up in the 70s. There was all kind of things going on. I was myself on the into the sex, drugs, and rock and roll scene. So let me go ahead and tell you that there were times that we wanted to experiment heavily, and anyway, but we didn't want to kill ourselves. And that's what's happening now to some of our people out there, some of our young people. And the stuff nowadays is not, this is not fun. This is not just teenagers being teenagers. This is not young people being young people. This is death and destruction right now. And it's, I will say that we are trying to make a stand that is getting a lot of attention throughout the country, as it should. But the things that are going on nowadays are not anything like it was 4 or 5 decades ago. And it's just bringing so much devastation to families. And I appreciate it when we're taking these things off the street. So be safe out there, please, but continue to do your job, and we want to thank you for doing it. Anyway, we're moving on now. Let's see what we got. I got a greatest hits from this past week. I always do on my Facebook topics. And it looks like what's in the news here lately, we've moved on past impeachment, is that Daddy Vladimir Putin, he wants his boy Trump to win the election again. So, but there was no collusion. But at any rate, that's gone in. All our intelligence agencies have said that this was they're doing it again. They haven't ever stopped, and there's a reason for this. I don't know how it can be much clearer how you cannot trust your intelligence officials that you have. And there are people right now that are patriots that have been railroaded out of their jobs, and because they did the right thing, they stood up for the country. Folks, we're better than this. We're better than this. It's time to stop being insecure. It's time to stop being afraid of not being able to go back to 1975 or 85. And it's time to move forward. We're a diverse nation. We're built on immigrants. Everybody here is an immigrant. And it's time to move past and accept the diversity that makes us great. And right now, we don't have that. The scourge of white nationalism, the scourge of violence, uptick. You can see articles in the papers now, in the news, about the bullying. Evidently, Melania's Be First campaign isn't soaking in to some people, because there's been an uptick in the violence throughout the country. Articles about it every day. And it's simply about people hating for no reason, hating without understanding. So I just want to say that think about the legacy, think about the future that you're going to leave for your grandchildren, because we've seen this before, this fascist attempt to move a country into a place that they can't recover from, and without being stopped. And we stopped it as a country once before. So I just want to say that think about your vote. This is a big election coming up, a lot of elections coming up. I can't for the life of me understand how some of the people that I've grown up with are able to sleep at night knowing what their government is doing to their citizens. And this is not a situation that this country is going to be able to recover from if we don't do something about it soon. I just want to say that if Jesus was an American, he wouldn't be happy right now. He wouldn't be happy at all. So, at any rate, this has been a sweet but short visit today. We swing by the seat of our pants around here right now, and we're going to get better. As I said, we're a work in progress, and we're going to get a little bit more professional, a little bit more diverse. And feel free to tune in to the WCA TV Facebook page or the website and tell them you like me, tell them you don't like me, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter to me. I can take it. I'm a big boy. So I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And I'll be back. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.